Alright, we're here with a special video in honour of A Farewell to Arms being the worst thing I ever read. I thought I would do a tier list of everything I've covered on the channel. Do not panic, I am not Henry in the chair at the moment. The chair is there in the background of the shot, so it's here in spirit, but for the moment I'm Henry at the desk. That's a good name for a YouTube channel. I'm going to be ranking everything that I've ever covered, but I'm going to be looking at series that I've covered sort of holistically. So Scott Pilgrim, Yu-Gi-Oh! R, Pokemon Adventures, Flanimals, V for Vendetta, one of those videos from the filler weeks. Those will be done with a single entry. I won't be covering each book in those series. But then for other things like Wheel of Time, I think I have put them as separate entries because I haven't really done them as series. I've done them as one-off videos for each book. So that's good. The ranking system I am doing, love, like, meh, dislike, hate. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, so obviously A Farewell to Arms is already in here in hate. It's the worst thing I ever read. Hence this video existing. Hence the last video existing. This book being so bad has spawned 2 videos. It's terribly written. The dialogue is awful. The story goes nowhere. The romance is bad. Bradley Wiggins chucked it out a window, and I wish I could have chucked myself out of a window reading it. But I read it mostly on a train, and train windows, they're not very high up. Appalling. I don't know how Ernest Hemingway ever had a career. Simple as that. Okay, for more thoughts on that, see the last video. Avengers Age of Ultron, the video topic of which was figuring out who the quippiest character was. It was War Machine, if you didn't know. I did most quips and then quips per minute of screen time, and I think War Machine won both. He's just all quips. All quips. As I don't think I gave my opinion on Avengers Age of Ultron as a movie. It's meh. If you ask me, it's one of the weaker movies in the first lot of like the first few phases of the MCU. I kind of like Ultron as a character. I don't particularly like the way he's so quippy. I mean, him being so quippy is the reason of the reason this video exists. I'm not sure if I said this story I'm going to end up, if you're like intimately familiar, which I doubt you are, with this, like what I said in those videos, I might end up repeating myself. I think I mentioned the story, but as I was driving out of the cinema car park after having seen this movie with my mate, I said to him, did Ultron feel very handsome Jack to you? That's the vibe I got from him, and not in a good way. It's too quippy, but I like the idea of Ultron. And it's where Vision came from. There are some good things here, but they're also, and it's got the like one of the best bits in the whole of the MCU where Cap moves the hammer a tiny little bit. But otherwise, it's pretty standard. It's another giant army versus the Avengers, and they already did that. But then they did it again in like Infinity War, and it was really good. This is a Storm of Swords, I think, right? Or a Clash of Kings? No, it's a Storm of Swords. Hang on. This is the book that I can never remember the little doodads on the front of those books. Well, this is the one I found on the ground in Finsbury Park, and I spent the entire video trying to find a higher power reason for why I found it, and I didn't. Came to the conclusion that someone left it outside a charity shop, then someone else came along and saw a big pile of stuff outside the charity shop, decided, no, I don't want to give that person, the charity shop's not getting that, I'm having it, got bored of carrying it like down the road, and then just left it next to a bin. And then that's where I found it. So that's probably what happened there. It's an early-ish A Song of Ice and Fire book. It's at least like. It's borderline between like and love, but I don't think it's the tendencies, like the tendencies, and that you can see where Song of Ice and Fire is going with this. It's getting a little sprawling, it's getting a little rambly, it's getting a little bit out of control. The first book, and I will stand by this, so George R.R. Martin always says he's a Gardner writer, not an architect. I just call complete bollocks on that. That's just not true, because there is no way you can write something as good and as tight and as snug and as well paced and as well structured as a Game of Thrones without planning every detail. There's just no way. George R. R. Martin is a liar, is what I'm saying. And obviously that would be In Love, but I haven't actually reviewed that one. So we're here with A Storm of Swords. I think A Clash of Kings would be In Love too. This is, in order of release, they are my ranking basically of those. So the first two would be Love, this is Like, and then I think the other, I like Feast of Crows and A Dance of Dragons, to be honest. There's a baseline with that world, and as sprawling and as meandering as it gets, there's still like a quality flaw that it won't fall through, unlike the show. So a Storm of Swords, Clash of Kings, it's good. It's very good. Not quite Love though. AVP 2. I think if I do it here, that's it. I hate this movie. It's not even a movie. I like it more than reading A Farewell to Arms, but it's not a movie, as we discovered. Was it like 70-something percent, 76% of it is utter darkness? It's not a movie. Movie is short for moving images, and there are no images in this movie. It is like 60 minutes of utter blackness. What were they thinking? Genuinely, what were they thinking? Because the effects aren't terrible, but they're just like, because that's what you do when it's dark. You hide poor effects, but like, I don't see why the effects aren't that bad for what you can see. When you can see them, they're fine. Just awful. But it does have one of the best deaths in all of cinema, where the love interest gets like disc blade pinned to a wall, and it's just so unnecessarily violent for no reason. Okay, Birdsong. You've been recycling bagpiping up. I said in the video for A Farewell to Arms that I have reevaluated my opinion on Birdsong. I think I would put it in dislike before having read this, but because A Farewell to Arms is the worst, like, it's basically the same thing. It's a tragic romance set with World War I as the backdrop, but like, this is gonna go into meh now, like a low meh, because it still happens way too quickly. The romance I'm talking about, there is barely any interaction between the two love interests, the man and the woman, and then they decide to just throw their life away and elope, and then it all goes wrong. It's just, and I just don't think that's the weakest. Well, let's say that's the weakest part. There's the whole bit in like the 80s with the guy's granddaughter trying to find, like, going through the codes of his books. It's all a bit weird and a bit random and a bit pointless. The war stuff is amazing, and there's a few descriptions of like men running into machine guns in this book that genuinely made me go, oof. Like, wow. And I don't normally do that when I'm reading words on a page. Talking back to that, the bit in like the 70s or the 80s, like a flash forward type section of the book. There's like 3 things going on. I did knock that, and it's still a bit weird, but it does give a welcome break to the not very good romance and the brutality of the war. So it's definitely something A Farewell to Arms could have used, some kind of reprieve, but otherwise it's just a bit meh. But I would recommend, if you like World War I depictions, definitely read it. Cars 2, that I think I hate more than AVP 2, so that's going in there. Truly disgraceful, absolutely awful. How dare you, Pixar? This is before you got like bad. This is you're still up there, but just, oh god, why would you think that people want to see more Mater? He probably sold a lot of toys. I get that. But, oh, Lord almighty. It's a spy movie that, like, could have, like, they do a whole bunch of stuff that cars it doesn't even need to be about cars. Like, I understand the plot is poisoned eco fuel or something, but, like, the things that they physically do, like, obviously there's a race going on. There's like Lightning McQueen doing the global tour or something. That's obviously car-centric, but just spy stuff, the human could do it. It lost all of the charm and the Americana. That was the whole point of the video. It lost the charm and the Americana of the first movie. And if you judge sequels as like the quality of a sequel by how much it improves on the movie that came before and how much it builds on it and how much better it is than it, Cars 3, I will die on this hill. Cars 3 is the greatest sequel ever made, because it is like a solid 6 out of 10, 6.5 out of 10. But Cars 2 is like a 1. Garbage. Just what were they thinking? What were they thinking? And they clearly understood their mistakes, because Mater's barely in Cars 3, and it's back in America, and Lightning McQueen's character arc, has been reset again, but that's just, I think they could do some kind of mental breakdown story with him. If they did Cars 4, he could be how he always resets to being the obnoxious guy who doesn't need his friends at the beginning of every movie. And they're like, Lightning, this is becoming a thing with you. Child of God, dislike. It has no story. It's just a grubby little man going about his business in the sticks of America. I like Cormac McCarthy. We'll get to another one of his books towards the end. I see it there. I like him. I like the way he writes. I like the minimal punctuation thing. I like the tone and the flavor of his writing. It's really, really cool. And he seemed like a really cool bloke. I haven't researched him in a while, so maybe he's been cancelled after he died. I hope not. But this is just nothing. It's the only positive about it is very short, but it's nothing. It's just a guy it's like Gollum, just grubbing about, just scurrying about, doing nasty things to people. He doesn't have a plot. He doesn't have a reason for doing these things. He just does things. It's nothing. Bad. Do not recommend. Flanimals, on the other hand, get in love. Flanimals is awesome. And I'm not just saying this because the illustrator of these books, Rob Steen, commented on one of the videos I made about it, saying he liked my videos. I'm not just saying that, but shout out to Rob Steen. These books are awesome. They are so fun. They are so tongue-in-cheek. They are so well illustrated. The ideas are just crazy and stupid. The only thing I am genuinely shocked, and they must have been made before Ricky. So Ricky Gervais wrote this. If you don't know, they're like his weird little Pokemon. They must have been made or written before Ricky met Carl Pilkington, because there's no Carl Pilkington references in here, and I would put my life savings on if he had known Carl Pilkington before writing this, or he wrote these at the height of Carl mania that swept the nation. There would be a Flanimal based on Carl. And I know they gave away some them as Flanimals when they were on XFM as a prize to Rockbusters or something. But that must have been after these were made. I mean, I could look up the dates, but I just can't be bothered. Plus, there's some genuinely good world building in here. It becomes genuinely good world. But originally, it is just a handbook of weird little creatures, but it genuinely becomes something pretty impressive. And it is still shocking to me that the channel Curious Archive hasn't covered this yet. Crimes of Grindelwald, Fantastic Beasts 2, dislike, but like more than Child of God. This movie is what killed the Fantastic Beasts franchise. I literally, the Super Carlin brothers dropped a video today. I think it was today or yesterday evening. I can't remember, but I watched it today about what happened to the Fantastic Beasts movies, and they sort of chart the trajectory of the franchise, the Fantastic Beasts franchise, and then it gets to this movie, and it's just all downhill from here. COVID happens, and J.K. Rowling comes out as a mental case loser. And it all starts here. And it's because she can't write a movie. That's the problem. She's got all these book things, the book ideas and little strings that would work in a book, but they don't work in the movie. And she wrote these movies. Even in the first one, which I actually really like, there are bits in that. There's someone running for Congress or something. Just someone going politician story going on in the background. Clearly she had tendencies, and they came out worse in this. Also, as I said in the video about this, the plot, the villain's plan is to stop World War II from happening. So our heroes, in opposing this villain, are actively trying to make the Holocaust happen. Don't do that. Don't ever write a villain who can see the future and is set in the past and can see the future and they want to stop World War II. Never do that. That might be seem tempting because juicy. We can do. Don't ever do that. Just don't do it, because your heroes will never be in the right position. because if there's a way of stopping World War II, you stop World War II. From that, though, I'm putting Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets in love. There's something about those first two movies that are just amazing to me. Like, they're so snug and cozy, and they are Christmas movies. I will hear nothing to the contrary, even though there's barely any Christmas in either of them. But there is some Christmas. Also, this one is genuinely scary for a child. Actually, they're both genuinely scary for a child. The bit where the guy's face comes out of Quirrell's head, and then all of the spider stuff. I'm not very good with spiders. Plus the voice in the wall. It's all quite scary. But like, they're so like the practical effects and like the lighting and the tone and the sort of the music. Come on now, John Williams. I just think they're really good. I love the third one as well, but for different reasons. The third one, it just is a really interesting movie in terms of like filmmaking, because there's Alfonso Cuarón and he just does interesting stuff. And then they go downhill, like movie quality wise. But yeah, the first two would both be up in love, just because they're really nostalgic as well. That's definitely playing a factor here. The first one's got, I haven't any money. And this one's got, give me my wand, Tom. There's so many memes. Although a lot of the memes come from the fourth one. That's my son. That's my boy. Iron Man 2. The whole premise of the video was that I liked this movie. A lot of people don't. That might be a slightly unpopular opinion, but it is so admirable in hindsight. It's adorable in hindsight, but it is also admirable in hindsight that they devoted an entire movie to explaining the repercussions of a movie that came before it. Repercussions that are, in the grand scheme of things, microscopic. Iron Man 1, guy makes energy machine and suit of armor. Let's devote an entire movie to the repercussions of those two things existing in the world. Why did they do this? I tell you why, because it's logical and it's what you should do with a world you're trying to build. But they quickly just kicked that out the window, because after Iron Man 2 it's Thor. So do you want to devote an entire movie to Nordic gods being real? Of course you don't. Because you would just be like, you would get nowhere in the story. But the fact that they did it once is hilarious, and I love it. And the movie itself isn't that good. I know that. I like it better than Iron Man 3. But like, War Machine shows up in the first time, and he's good. I've always liked War Machine. And it's got Sam Rockwell doing a little dance. Before I die, I want to learn how to do that dance that he does when he comes onto that stage. Plus, Phase 1 is like, it's like, some people knock Iron Man 2, some people knock Thor, some people knock The Incredible Hulk, which was kind of like out on a limb a little bit, but it does count. But like, Phase 1 is so tight, because it's like, Iron Man 1 sets up the world, Iron Man 2 sets up how the Phase 1 is perfect because it sets up everything for the Avengers. Iron Man 1 sets up the world, Iron Man 2 sets up how the Avengers are going to come together with S.H.I.E.L.D., Thor sets up the villain for Avengers, and Captain America sets up the MacGuffin for Avengers. They're all perfect. It just works so well. When Marvel had a plan, when they had an idea, when they had a vision, and then they got Vision, and they lost their vision. Remember White Vision? Is he back yet? I'm a little bit out of the loop with the MCU. I haven't watched from Fantastic Four onwards. It might just be Fantastic Four. I haven't watched many of the TV shows. Is White Vision back? Who knows? A Dead Man's Chest. Dislike, but like more than... Come on. No, I want it. Okay, can I... Yeah, there you go. I like it more than Crimes of Grindelwald. The whole point of this video was mathematically proving that I disliked it. I listed off everything I liked about it, and I listed off everything I disliked about it, and there was significantly more dislike. You even using a point scale. Come on. The problem is, the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie is kind of almost completely perfect in every way. So it would have been really hard for them to match that quality. And they do in places with certain set pieces and the music and certain effects, but like, the plot is just nothing. There's like no character development, and Johnny Depp jumps the shark a little bit with his Jack Sparrow, and it doesn't make much sense. And There's this bit at the end of this movie that I will die on the hill is just really bad filmmaking. Or just like, maybe not really bad, just unintentionally bad filmmaking. That's probably what it is. There's a bit, right? So they're all in, like, the witch doctor lady's cabin. And there's this bonking noise. And it's what's his face? Will Turner, Orlando Bloom, throwing a knife into a table over and over again. And it's like donk. And it's like a wide shot and you can hear the donking noise. Donk, donk, donk. And they're all in this cabin and they're all sad because Jack Sparrow has seemingly died. He's been eaten by the Kraken, but he's sent to Davy Jones's locker or something. I don't know how that works. It doesn't matter. They're like donk. And he's still going donk, donk. And you see it from the outside shot. And it's like, what's that donking noise? And you go in, oh, it's him donking with the knife. And then they have a big conversation. And then a donking starts again. And it's Barbossa with his wooden leg walking down the stairs, and it's like that is setting up for a bit in a movie that you everyone will see. It's like he'll be donking and then he'll stop, but the noise will carry on, and someone will go, "Could you stop doing that?" And he'll be like, "I'm not doing it anymore," and everyone will turn around and then Barbossa's walking down the stairs. They are clearly setting up for a thing like that, and they just don't do it, but they've got like the parts of the thing to do it, parts of the scene to do that, but they're just not connected. It's just bad. A True Grit. I think this is going to go at the top of meh. Let's move you. Yeah, top of meh. It's all right. I'm like a sucker for westerns, so that might be why I think of this. Why this is because there's not much to. I mean, there is quite a lot to it, to be honest. Maybe I'm selling it short because it's a classic, really, isn't it? I don't know. I did quite like it, actually.
Do I move it up?
It's quite short. I did like Rooster, and the whole point of it is like True Grit. Maddie Ross thinks it's the true Rooster is the guy with the true grit, but it's all about her true grit, and it's actually quite. And she, as I said, she's really precocious, and it skirts the line of being annoying, but the author solves that by ruining her life and being just like really, like she goes through a lot. And the movie's good. Matt Damon as LaBeouf. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna move that up. I'm gonna move that up to like True Grit. I like True Grit. Top Gun Maverick. This is going here. Below, might actually be above A Storm of Swords, you know, Clash of Kings, whichever one this is. It's the third one. I know it's the third one. Yeah, this film is awesome. It's very much someone my age's film. It's an old man's film, but it's like so well made, and all the performances are really good, and it's so well shot and so well lit, and the story is just, you don't even need it. There's just like it's like a weaponized nostalgia to it. It's very slick and crisp and clean. And the enemy they're fighting is no one, because it can only possibly be Russia or like northern China maybe, but they keep saying the enemy. It can't possibly be Russia or China, where it really could only be one of those two, but it couldn't possibly be one because the stuff America does in this movie against those would cause World War III like that. So it's no one. It's a hypothetical country. Atlantis, maybe. It could be Atlantis. It could be Tom Cruise dropping bombs on Atlantis. Scott Pilgrim. Okay, so this will be the first one of... Actually, no, I've done the Flanimals one. I was going to say this is the first whole series, but we've done Flanimals. Scott Pilgrim, the whole series, I think is an overall dislike. It is up, it's down, up, and down. So that's more down than up, which means it can't be in the middle. It has to be down. There were chances, though. Like, I really like the slice of life stuff in it, and I really like how cozy and chill parts of it are. I hate Scott Pilgrim as a main character. And you are supposed to, in parts. But I kind of just hate him. At the beginning, you're supposed to hate him. He goes through a bit of an arc, and then he sort of completes his arc, but then becomes rubbish again near the end. And he's not a very good character. And I don't like him. Plus, there's a lot of like very dated humor in this. It's not very. There are a couple of funny jokes, but there's a lot of bits that are clearly meant to be funny that I just didn't find funny. I like the art style. I like the video gamey world. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like if Scott was a better written character, I think it would be up there a little bit higher, but he is not. Eye of the World. This is not the whole of the Wheel of Time. I've only read 3 of the books in the series. This is going to be tricky. I think I'm going to have to put this at the top of dislike too. I like it more than Scott Pilgrim. Do I actually? Yeah, I think I do. The thing about this, it's just so poorly paced. It's just because I like the world. I like the magic and the history and the fact that it's apparently our world in the future. That's so cool when they find like little Mercedes logos and talk about spaceships, but like they're all like in the form of legends. That is awesome. I love that so much. Just there is like a massive chunk in the middle of this first book, The Eye of the World, that is almost like DNF City. That's where we nearly went with this, because it's just they all get split up and then they just stay split up and do it's like 300 pages of just walking from village to village doing bits, and like the characters are really nasty as well. None of them are very pleasant to be around. They're either stupid or stubborn or foul or intentionally withholding information. I don't think any of them. Maybe I think Elaine, is that her name? Am I getting muddled up? Egwene. Yeah, Egwene. She is pleasant enough. But everyone, and Lan's alright because he doesn't really say much. And there's another thing. He's just in love with Nynaeve, just like, that's easy. Don't worry about that. We were on horses for loads of time. There's just people falling in love. Don't even worry about it. Yeah, whilst I'm in the zone for this, The Great Hunt, I dislike more, but I think Scott Pilgrim can slot in there. This one is even worse paced. It's just, it's the refusal of the call of the book, and you can't have a whole piece of like literature or media. You can't have a movie that's just refusal of the call. You can't have a story that's just refusal of the call. You can't do it, man, because you'll just get incredibly frustrated with the main character obviously stubbornly refusing his destiny for no reason. I do not like this one. Also, like at the beginning, the whole status quo of like the items, all the MacGuffins that they got at the end just get nicked. So it's sort of like a status quo just gets reset. Plus, at the beginning, Rand tries to Charlie Swan his friends, like, I hate you and you need to leave me. Just one time I want to see in a movie, just a character just be like, I know what you're doing. What do you think is going on? Like, what? Stop this. It's just so many of, and they're all. There are a couple of good bits in The Great Hunt where Egwene again gets kidnapped and she goes through some nasty stuff, and then an army from another continent come over. That's who she gets kidnapped by, basically. And then Nynaeve, who was utterly insufferable in the... You know what? I'm going to swap these around. This can be here, and this one can be here. Yeah, that the Seanchan stuff actually makes that better. It's still in dislike, but the coat as well. Rand is like, he needs to become a lord, so he has to accept this coat. And he just doesn't want... But we constantly get updates on the coat. Okay, but then this one, Dragon Reborn. This is high meh? Yeah, high meh, I would say. It's still not great, but the pacing issues have somewhat resolved themselves. We never linger in a place too long. In the first one, we lingered in like being split up and in villages and stuff. The second one, Rand ends up in a separate dimension and we're there for a million years. But this one just doesn't. It does have enough motion. There's a lot of people on boats in this book for some reason, but that's how you got places, suppose, in a fantasy world. A lot of boats. Also, it helps that Rand isn't the main character because he's insufferable. He's a whiny little baby man. So we get just like POVs from everyone else who is good. And I really like, so all of the negative, like I think my favorite thing about this entire series, I've only read the first 3, but my favorite thing about it is the 3 main character boys each have their own unique magic thing going on. So it's like a trick that Harry Potter never really went into, but had the opportunity to. Rand is the chosen one, so he has like the chosen one destiny. But Mat and Perrin also have like their own unique stuff happening to them. Matt's got like super luck, and he's possessed by he could channel the personality of an ancient dead general, so he's got like fighting abilities and strategy abilities, while Matt can talk to wolves and turn into a wolf man and walk through dreams and control people through their dreams or talk to people through their dreams. It's so cool. There's Rand with his dragon reborn destiny. He's going to save the world. And they're just like, I got problems of my own right now, man. Just come on. And it's something that really had the opportunity to do with Harry, Ron, and Hermione. They could have each, so Harry is the chosen one with his own stuff. And they could have given each of the other two like something unique about them. Something cool. Like in this movie, Hermione turns into a cat girl by accident, right? She should have maybe had like some lingering effects of that. So it would have been cool. What would it have? She could have had like night vision. That would have been cool, right? Just for the rest of the series and the rest of her life, she just has really good eyesight. That would be cool. Or like good balance or something. Or maybe she's got 9 lives and like magically she can die 9 times and Voldemort's like, what? Yeah, but this is just fanfic. But at this stage, but that's what I like about the main trio of the Wheel of Time. I like that each of them have got something going on. It's good stuff. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom? I don't know, the second Jurassic World movie. This is going in dislike. Probably below, yeah, there. Below Dead Man's Chest, but above Crimes of Grindelwald. It's 2 maybe good movies stapled together to make one bad movie. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It's so clearly 2 stories merged together, but because they are merged together to make one digestible story, the pacing of both gets utterly annihilated, and you're left with this like 2 horribly paced movies, 2 like movies in fast forward merged together with like a transition in the middle that is hilarious. They just like end up on a boat that basically gets them from the first movie to the second movie. They should have just done a whole film of them saving the dinosaurs from the exploding island, and then the third movie could have been Dinosaur in Spooky House, like a slasher. The third act, which is meant to be the dinosaur in the spooky house, is kind of, there's just 2 acts to them, or suppose there's more. There's I suppose 6 acts to the movie, and the third act is actually the 4th, 5th, and 6th act of a 6-act movie. It's a mess, is what it is. They tried to do way too much. I don't know why they tried to do too much, because they clearly had a franchise plan, and they made 2, I think, after this. The third one is terrible. It's got like dinosaurs sleeping under piles of snow. Dinosaurs are cold-blooded. They would just die. You understand how hot the world was when dinosaurs were alive. Neuromancer. I'm going to put this here in meh. I wanted to like this. I love cyberpunk as a genre, as a vibe. I like the music that's come out of the cyberpunk genre. I love the fashion. I love styles and art and all the world building, and just cyberpunk is awesome. This is, as the thumbnail says, too much. It's just so much going on. It is the hardest book I've ever read, and this is coming from someone who quite likes cyberpunk. The ideas and the descriptions and the concepts and the thing and like the visualization of certain things that you kind of have to do as you read it. Well, it's not even you kind of have to do. As you read a book, you visualize what you're being told well, not just like involuntary. It's like you're being told something. This is this. And you're like, oh, okay, this. But with this, it's the descriptions of things and the way things work and the way things sort of function in the world. Just, you can't read. There's like huge black spots in your mind. It's like, the best example of this is there's like a space station in this book. And if you Google the name of the space station, you will get loads of completely different, because it's never been visualized officially in a movie or a TV show or like a graphic novel or something. So you will get loads of unofficial artwork of this space station, and they are all completely different. Just like the same as The sort of way he jacks into, well, the mainframe itself, like cyberspace, that's really hard to visualize. But also just the physical kit that he uses to jack into the mainframe, into cyberspace. It's like, is there a keyboard? Is he just waving his hands? Does it plug into a screen? Does it have like holographic screens? It's just so hard. Maybe because I've experienced so much cyberpunk and so much stuff that involves computers and cyberspace that I've got too much in my head, and I need... It would be easier if I had none of that, because this came out in the 80s, and I have no idea how people in the 80s understood what the hell was going on. If you are one of those people with like a blank slate, basically, that might be easier. You might be easier to digest the craziness of this. It's very hard. Inside there is a really cool cyber heist with a guy who can create illusions, and cyber sexy dream girl, the becoming more and more common sub-variant of the manic pixie dream girl. And there's like a detective, and his name's Henry. It's so cool, but it's just under layers and layers of almost impenetrable cyber jargon. It is cool. I want to be able to put this higher, but I just can't. The Blade itself. I don't like this. I don't like this very much. It's one of the most boring books I've ever read. It's not the most boring book I've ever read. We'll get to that. But it's not good. I think it's going to go at the end of dislike. I don't hate it, but I don't like it. It is an entire book of building the party. Like the fantasy party. We get our wizard, our barbarian, our foppish noble, our warrior lady. And it's an entire book of assembling the party. Tolkien, who spent 10 pages describing butter on bread, assembled a party in half a book. Half a book that's smaller than this. The Fellowship of the Ring is a little bit smaller than The Blade itself. I like some of the characters. I like Logan, but he's completely aimless, completely directionless, completely driveless, completely momentumless. He's just nothing. He just follows people around being told what to do. There's a tournament in it, and one of the characters just enters a tournament that he doesn't really want to be in, and there's a romance going on, and it's fine. It's probably the best thing in the book, maybe. At least it's something. And then the guy doesn't even win the tournament because the wizard, like, Chaozu's the guy he's fighting. It's just... And it's not really even that grimdark, even though everyone said it was grimdark. It's just so boring. And I've been told by one of my friends who's read the series, I think the second book is just as boring. It's a shame. But we're going to get to soon a book that has a similar problem to this, but is better. It should have just been from one guy's point of view. It should have been just from the wizard's point of view as he assembles his party. It should not have been from multiple POVs, because he's the only character that makes things happen and that does things. So it should have just been his story. That's what it would have been. Although Logan does go berserker mode at the end and kills like 19 guys, and it's really cool. Stardust can go into hate because Neil Gaiman is a wrong'un. This video has aged incredibly well. Not that I'm taking any pride in Neil Gaiman being a wrong'un and the people he's affected. Those are really bad things that he allegedly did. But like the whole premise of this is the main character is a creepy weirdo, and yeah, I can see why the character is a creepy weirdo. But there is one part of it where I'm like, Neil Gaiman is a national treasure. He should be a knight of the realm. It's like, I apologize for that in the Cars 2 video, but I'd also like to take this moment to apologize about that too. Probably no knighthood for Neil Gaiman over here. He can just leave now. But yeah, even if he wasn't a wrong'un, alleged wrong'un, it's not very good. It would probably be in dislike. It's just the main character is irredeemable. Basically, he's really bad at the end, and he's so bad at the beginning of his arc that whatever arc he goes through doesn't matter to me. He is irredeemable. Sharpe's Tiger. This is going in like. This is the first chronological book of the Sharpe series. If you know it, Sean Bean being Sean Bean. And this has a similar problem to The Blade itself. However, this one has a main character, Sharpe, obviously, but it does cut away from him and to like army generals and stuff. So this would be better if it was solely from Sharpe's point of view and we didn't get any trenches and mortar descriptions and battlements and stuff like that. So it's kind of like if we got loads of POV from Bayaz in Blade itself and a few bad chapters from the other characters, that's what this is like. But because Sharp is such a goon, he is like an absolute legend. He kills like a guy. He gets like he kills like two of these like Indian strongmen guys who come at him, and he just kills them with his bare hands. It's amazing. He is such a legend. I might be contradicting some of the things I said in my videos, but I've had more time to reflect on these things. So this opinion is the definitive opinion. Nothing Lasts Forever is in love. Boom. It's the book that Die Hard is based on. It's amazing. Die Hard would be in its own chapter if we had like the Die Hard movie here. Hey, that's a point. Where the hell is the Die Hard 2? Oh god. Where is it? Bear with me. Okay, so Die Hard 2's in there now. Yeah. The book that Die Hard 1 is based on, though, is epic and is like incredibly well structured and well paced. And I mean, to be able to make an amazing movie based on a book, the book has to be at least like really good. And it is. It's kind of funny in its differences in that the main character is a lot older and he's still doing like these crazy things. So maybe he should have died even more times than John McClane in the movie. His name's Joe Leland, by the way. Don't know why they made that change. And he's also having flashbacks there's like a whole bit at the beginning where he's on an aeroplane and he gets like an air hostess's number, and it's all kind of weird. And he rings her in the middle of the big hostage situation. But it's cool. It gives him someone to talk to because it's a book. You're trapped with his point of view. You don't get the news and you don't get the policeman on the ground. You don't get anything else. You're stuck with him. So you need kind of some contact and other things going on. You need some sort of branching away from just the linear thing. It's really good. Monsters University. I think a lot of people don't like this, but I kind of really do. I think I said in the video, I am a massive sucker for the America college setting. I don't know why. It's the Americana thing. It's why I like Cars 1 so much. I'm just a sucker for Americana in general, because it's like kind of alien to me. It's mystical. It's on the other side of the pond. It's less good these days, but I really like the idea. I like the game, the sort of tournament. It's like a tournament arc. I do like the setup. It's a really good prequel, except the fact that it's the setup for there could have been another movie after this, but before Monsters Inc., which is all the stuff you see in the credits for some reason. It's such a strange choice. Modern Pixar would probably are kicking themselves for doing that. Well, they could still do it, actually. Why haven't they? Monsters Inc. interns or something like that. But I like Randy. I like the setup between the two. They definitely they change so much, and I mean that's not really much to ask from a movie and a story. Your characters are better people at the end than they are at the beginning. It's called a positive change character arc, but it's just this is a really good example of a deuteragonists, two genuine main characters. This is what Ratatouille wishes it was, and I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. Ratatouille has no main character. It's got two side characters masquerading as the main character. This has two main characters, and it works. And it's super colourful and well animated, and the music is good, and the other characters are amazing. Pokemon Adventures. This is also going in but where? Probably there. Yeah, I'm a big Pokemon fan. Although, ironically, I am sort of saying this in my period of time that I am most out of love with Pokemon than I have ever been maybe in my entire life, right now, because of just ZA and just people. I'm not trying to be the fun police. If you like the new Megas, that's fine, but you can't deny that they are jangling keys. They're like, oh, if we do this, we could maybe get away with not making a good game. We're the biggest entertainment franchise in the history of the planet, but if we can just do a few new forms for some Pokemon, we might get away with not making a good game. Because they could make one of the best games. They could make the best game ever made if they wanted to. Game Freak and Pokemon, but they don't. They're lazy and they make like meh games at best these days because they can get away with it, because they can release Mega Chimecho and everyone will make react videos to Mega Chimecho clapping and laughing and cheering, and they'll be like, well, why if they're gonna react like this to a meh at best, why would we make anything good? And like, again, if you like Mega Chimecho, I'm not shaming you, I'm just saying that you could have more. You deserve more. They could give you more for an 80 quid game or whatever Wind and Waves is going to be on the Switch 2. So that's my setup for being out of love of Pokemon right now. That being said, reading these recently, it has been really fun. These are just completely balls to the walls insanity, and I love it. Just adults just trying to kill children with Pokemon and with their bare hands, and it's just so violent and brutal and just sprawling in a way that the anime never was, and the stakes just get ridiculous. Like Lance blows up a whole city, and the Lugia shows up at the end and is gonna blow up the whole world or something, or kill all humans. I can't remember. It's just crazy. It is something that if you are very familiar with Pokemon except for this, read this manga and you'll be like, what? Excuse me? Fire Blast? On a child? Not a Pokemon, a child. No Country for Old Men. This is gonna go above Monsters University. There you go. Look at the difference. So this is the last Cormac McCarthy book, Child of God, and this is the one we just did. This is No Country for Old Men. This is awesome. I mean, neo-noir, not neo-noir, a neo-western, sorry. Neo-noir is cool too, but neo-westerns are pretty rare and very interesting. They should make more of them. Basically just a western set now. Is that what Yellowstone is? I don't know. Cormac McCarthy's writing style just fits so well for this story and these characters and just this setting and this type of book. But I suppose a lot of his stuff is that he is like a neo-western guy. But even still, it's like a magnum opus. It's not even that big. Is there a certain word count you need to get before you can be called like someone's magnum opus? Whatever. It's awesome. It's so slick and cool. It's so cool, and shows the difference between you can still do minimalist style dialogue, minimalist punctuation, minimalist structure, and it can still work. A Farewell to Arms had minimalism to it, and it was terrible. This is not the whole lot. This is just the Hedge Knight. This is Top of Love, because this is the second best thing George R.R. Martin has ever written. I still like A Game of Thrones more, but this is amazing, and I am so glad that the TV show is good. I haven't watched it yet because I don't have Sky Atlantic or whatever we have over here. I'm going to though. I'm so glad that show is good, and I'm so glad other people getting to experience this. And I hope that people who watch it then go back and read the book, because it's so good, man. It's so chill, except when it ramps up. It's so low key, except when it ramps up. It's such a good view of the world in this, the world of Westeros, the world of A Song of Ice and Fire, that you just don't get in the main story because they're all nobles or people like that, really important people. Dunk is just a guy. He's just a guy. And there are no massive battles except one kind of big battle. It's just, and it's so well written, and there are apple puns all the way, man. Spoiler, the next proper book video is going to be on the Sworn Sword, and my question of will A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms Season 2 be good, based on what they're working with the story of the second book in the trilogy. I don't like the second one as much, so I don't think Season 2 will be as good as the first one. It got like didn't one of the episodes get a perfect score on IMDb, and it caused all the Breaking Bad fans to go berserk and review bomb it, and then these fans of this went and review bombed the perfect Breaking Bad episode, and at the end everyone lost. I'm just so glad that HBO still knows how to make a good TV show. But I mean, the source material was right there. So all they needed to do was be somewhat faithful instead of making stuff up like those two goobers who did Game of Thrones. Seriously, if you haven't read it and you've seen the thing, read it, because it's delightful. It's delightful. Desolation of Smaug is probably going into the top of hate because this movie is terrible and has way too many characters, and the effects are bad, and the story has been dragged out to its like just disgusting, like it's been bloated to the point of unrecognizability. The only good thing really is Martin Freeman's performance as Bilbo. It just ends. It doesn't have a proper end. It just Smaug flies out of the mountain. He's flying towards Lake Town. Credits. Ed Sheeran. It's just really bad, isn't it? But then, like, you know, like all of the backstage stories about this behind the scenes of the absolute disaster that was the production of these movies. So it's actually kind of miraculous that it exists at all. But yeah, really bad all around. The Last Don is the most boring book I've ever read, so it's got to go here just above the worst book I've ever read. Don't read this. It is huge. It is a tome. It's not really a tome, actually. It's smaller than The Godfather. It's a lot worse than The Godfather, though. It's a period of time that you will never get back, and you won't be super angry with it. You won't be super offended by it. You'll just be like, oh, okay, well, that's that then. It's Mario Puzo's weird vendetta against Hollywood in a book. There's like some cool bits, maybe with like one or two of the mafia characters, but other than that, it's just like flashbacks out of nowhere. It is pages and pages of backstory for every single character that shows up, even the minor ones, even the guys who do like barely anything. It's just show, don't tell, but like blurring the lines with like, here's a lady will be driving a car to a place, and then she'll just have a flashback, and it will be like 120 pages of this flashback, and it's like, oh my god, she's still driving in that car, because it will cut back to her and be like, oh yeah, she's driving in this car, right? That's not showing over telling. That's telling through a lens. Not good. The Sicilian, however, Mario Puzo's other book, is going in love. Not because it's particularly good, but because it is the weirdest thing I have ever read by far. It is a sidequel to The Godfather that doesn't need to exist, that came out like 20 years later or something, 10 years later. Michael Corleone goes to Sicily in The Godfather. We see everything he does. He has some friends, he meets a lady, they get married, one of his friends betrays him, his wife dies, then he goes back to America. This book asked the question, what if after all that stuff, but before he went back to America, some other things happened? You have to find a guy and bring him back. But we know he can't come back with a guy because we've seen The Godfather. We know he doesn't come back with a guy. So the guy he has to find, clearly something's going to happen to him. And the guy he's looking for is real. It's a real guy. He was a real man in the real world. Salvatore Giuliano. Salvatore Giuliano. No. He was real. And that factor alone is completely bananas. You've got famously fictional man, Michael Corleone, going around Sicily looking for a real man, a real guy from the real world. It's just such a strange idea for a book. It would be like if, say, right, what's a story set in the real world but has... Okay, so it would be like if... Okay, Harry Potter, right? Harry Potter is a famous fictional man, but it's technically set in the real world. It would be like if one summer that Harry Potter goes back to the Dursleys, he goes around looking for... Dumbledore tells him, you need to bring David Attenborough back to Hogwarts with you this term. You need to. In like the holiday of like the 5th year. So we know that he goes back to school without David Attenborough. So we'd be like, well, what's the point of any of this? Is David Attenborough going to die? I hope not. He's nearly 100. I love it in just its absolute ridiculousness. V for Vendetta, I think I'm going to put at the top of meh, because I like the artwork, I like the miserable, grubby world, I like the political message, fascism bad, but I can't get over how cringy the main character is. V crosses a line that then he can't really cross back. He's just he becomes just insufferable. He's just quoting Shakespeare and poems and talking in rhyme, and it's just like, and he's doing it as he's dying at the end. It's just, it jumps the shark and it never jumps back. There is, because there's a point where it's like, okay, I'm getting this, and then it just gets too much, and it's like, now I just hate this guy. Could you just stop talking at all, please? And I get that he's insane and that he's been broken by experimentation and stuff, but even still, just dial it back a little bit, man. Just wind your neck in, son. Also, I think it's like on Instagram, I get these real adverts on Instagram Reels. I get these adverts of like Alan Moore talking about writing and stuff, like giving it in. I think it might be an advert for some kind of, not a course, but a book. And he's like, anyone can write. And I'm like, yeah, anyone can write, but you, Alan, can't write phonetic Scottish accents. How dare you do that to me in this book? There's a Scottish guy in this, and he is just completely ununderstandable. He is just, God. I think the top of meh is good. Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. This is probably going at the bottom of dislike. I like Tom Hardy. I like Venom. And Carnage is my favorite Marvel character of all time. But this is not a good movie. Why did they remake Natural Born Killers? Just because they got Woody Harrelson? It's such a strange choice. I don't understand why. You understand that actors can play characters like Jason Bourne isn't the same guy who got stuck on Mars. It's Woody Harrelson. You got Woody Harrelson. He doesn't have to play. Is it his character from Mallory Knox is the woman in it, I think. It doesn't matter. He doesn't have to play his character from Natural Born Killers just because he's here. It's such a strange, and they try to like humanize Carnage and just give him like a backstory and make him relatable and give him sort of motivation to be. It's just awful. And he's not this sort of tragic character. He's a madman. Yes, the Carnage book, what's like the Family of Carnage, or I can't remember what it is, does give him this sort of like friendship, love interest, weird family dynamic thing with a bunch of other crazy villains. But even then, he's still not like this like redeemable guy. He's still just a mental case. That's the whole point. So Venom calls themselves We because they are two separate people. But because Cletus Cassidy is so insane, he bonds perfectly to the red goo that he calls himself I. It's just, no. Maybe Carnage being like my favorite character is why I dislike this so much. They look how they massacred my boy. But it's also just a weird idea, just doing Natural Born Killers with goo. Why did they do this? Yu-Gi-Oh! R! This is a tricky one, because I am a big sucker for like all of Yu-Gi-Oh! Media. But this is kind of fanficky. The villain is ridiculous. And about as fanficky as you get, with I'm the secret adopted son of Maximilian Pegasus. Actually, I have a twin who's even more better than me. It's ridiculous, and it's just fanfic out the wazoo. We got fanfic bingo a couple of times playing it with this series. But I do like duels. There's whatever flavor of autism I have loves a Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel. That sort of the way they fit together, and they have to have ups and downs, but it has to be within the rules of the game, except when they break the rules of the game. But it is quite bad, and the ending is rubbish. So I think I might put it here in meh. Yeah, like that. I think that's fine. The art's really good. I didn't mention that. The art is really good in it. Except when they get Yugi's eye color wrong in all the covers. His eyes are different colors on the covers, which is just crazy. at least have one color. Like, it could be wrong, but at least consistent. They're like pink on one and green on another. It's almost set in an impossible time frame. But I love duels. I love the way they're written. And finally, the one I forgot, that would have been the last one, but I forgot to put Die Hard 2 on here. This is going at the top of like, not quite love. It's more Christmassy than Die Hard 1, but I don't think it's as good as Die Hard 1. The first movie is just so tight and so well structured and so well paced and so on point. And it's got one of the best villains in the history of cinema, I think. The villain in this is not as good, but he does stab a guy in the eye with an icicle in this. He gets a Christmas kill. I like the setting of an airport. I like the snow, but it's just not as... I mean, what can you say? The first one is a timeless classic. It will go down in the history of cinema, the history of the human race, as one of the best action movies ever made, one of the best movies ever made. It invented kind of a genre of hero that wasn't Arnold Schwarzenegger or Sylvester Stallone. It was just like a man trying his best and still saving the day. You can't really match that as good as the second one is, but yeah, the top of like, I think is good. So this is pretty cool, actually. This is more balanced than I thought it would be. I had kind of had a feeling, I just feel like I'm more negative than positive, just sort of in day-to-day life. But like, this is almost all I need to do is one more thing that I really love, and it would be perfectly symmetrical. What's the next thing? After this, it's the new fillery thing. Yeah. I don't think I'm going to put that in. It might do. I might do. But yeah, I genuinely thought I have more that I hate, but I guess not. You know what? I think, real quick, I'm going to change that. I'm going to move that up 1. Yeah. I dislike Child of God more than Blade itself. Not that is like a game changer. Good. Take a screenshot. Mark this day. We did it. We did it. And if I forgot any, like I forgot Die Hard 2, I'm sorry. Like and subscribe.